4 years ago, the first part of what I would call the most ambitious remake project ever in this industry was released. It was critically acclaimed and took a place as one of my favorite games of all time, mostly thanks to the amazing cast of characters, as well as having the best action RPG combat at that time. And here I am sitting with you guys, talking about my impressions of its second part, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. First, many thanks to Square Enix for providing me with an early review copy so I could put this video together ahead of the game's release. Now, after putting more than 80 hours of gameplay into it, I can finally give you all my thoughts on it. Though, keep in mind I am only allowed to talk about certain parts of the game, so don't worry about getting things spoiled for you. Without further ado, here's my review of the game. Since I'm a very gameplay-oriented person, I decided to talk about this aspect first. The gameplay of Rebirth follows the bases left by Remake. It seems identical at first, but once we dive deeper into it, it gets better in every single way. It still mixes both the action and ATB strategic combat brilliantly, and gladly this time around, the game is more active outside of the ATB. You can perfect block and perfect dodge to negate the damage completely, as well as a new mechanic called Synergy. It allows you to use synergy skills that enables you to use abilities linked between two characters, free of ATB, MP or any resources. They help you a lot during combat since some of them are used to close the gap between you and aerial enemies to make tag combos unlike never before. Another thing to the synergy mechanic, there is something called synergy abilities, which cost synergy points. They usually give you passives like a higher defense or to upgrades your limit break. Those are not just flashy and cinematic stuff, but actually very useful during the combat. My only gripe with them is that they don't give you invincibility during their animations, which kind of makes them scary to use at times. So what they did to the combat system here is that they held the ATB combat we loved from the first game and upgraded it into the action aspect more, which made the combat system very active and you're constantly doing something more so than the first game, which is a huge step towards the right direction, and with the improvements to the air combat, it made this battle system perfect, and a dream that actually came true. Moving on to the exploration, it is full of collectibles that would help you with the crafting items or unlocking certain things, but aside from that, you'll find the most engaging side quests in the history of Japanese RPGs, or minigames that would reward you for simply walking in this breathtaking world. Each region has a different chocobo with different abilities that makes your journey way more convenient, and gives you the ability to reach areas you normally wouldn't. I found myself but to wonder how did they move on from the single linear city into this big full world that we have in Rebirth, and it is an achievement that I never thought was possible. Speaking of minigames, this is the game that has the most minigames from anything else I've played in my life. What's surprising is that they are mostly fun and have stories that are both hilarious or could pull your heartstrings from how sad they can be, which gave me enough reason to do every single one of them. The story of Rebirth follows immediately after our party arrives to Calm, with Cloud telling the story of Sephiroth. It's taught by the game putting you into both Sephiroth and Cloud's point of view back during the Nibelheim incident, and the way how it was switching back and forth between the flashback and the present time to show the characters' reactions to Cloud's narrative is great, and pulled me right into the story from the get-go. In Rebirth, the game focuses not only on finding Sephiroth, but focuses even more on finding oneself, and how one can live with the grief and loss. It is full of sad, devastating moments, but also moments of joy that creates a nice balance and makes the game's story feel even deeper. I thought I couldn't love these characters more, but this game did exactly that. It made the character moments even more meaningful and created connections between the cast unlike anything Final Fantasy have ever done. If Tifa, Cloud and Barret were my favorite characters, now they are even better and closer to me. It made me fall in love with characters that I was honestly just okay with. Now I really care about the rest of the cast as well. Aerith, Yuffie, Red 13 and Kate Sith, they are amazingly portrayed in this game. In the end, it is a story that expects you to pay attention and listen to instead of just sitting and hearing without listening. Especially the ending. If you don't pay any attention to the details, you'll be left clueless and you will miss the point entirely. The graphics of Rebirth got a tiny bit of an upgrade to Remake, mostly if you look at the world's attention to detail, which is to be expected since this time around it is a more open game. Each area is beautifully crafted with an artistic mind to keep the atmosphere and feel of the original game for the modern age. Every area I visited, from the interiors to the exteriors, was breathtaking. The game kind of fumbles here and there, but it honestly doesn't take away from the rest of the gorgeous art style. However, when you play on performance mode, the game tends to get very blurry in some areas and makes it difficult to keep this mode on, so I often find myself juggle between the performance and quality mode, which is in my opinion the only one aspect I did not like about this game. Keep in mind that we are in an age where anything can be patched, especially if it's the technical aspect of the game. The devs are listening and they have already patched the game once, so I expect more patches in the future. In conclusion, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not about reliving a journey or a simple nostalgia ride. It is bold, daring, and is here to make an impact that lasts with us in a different way from the original game. It is not to replace it, but sit next to it, since they are two complete experiences. With its perfect combat, lovable cast and intriguing storytelling, it brought to us the best RPG and Final Fantasy in every possible way, and it makes me nothing but proud to be a fan of this franchise. The Final Fantasy that I could recommend to every single gamer out there, and I'm confident enough that they will at least enjoy it. Thank you all for watching, and for more 7 Rebirth, make sure to subscribe since I have tons of upcoming content for the game here on my channel. You will not be disappointed. Peace.